Yeah.
Good morning, my friends. It's Brekky In The Cave, you know. Sounds of Beanie Man to kick us off this morning. Reworking an absolute classic.
Mr. Pouch in my shirt and trousers, and watch my girl them not them blouse and skirts.
We've got a fantastic show on the way, so I'm going to leave you with this one for the time being. We're going to let you know exactly what's going on in a couple of minutes or so. For the time being, make sure you're liking the video. Let's get some reach out there. As well as that, of course, let us know how you're feeling in the chat as well. Brekky In The Cave, baby. Cupcam TV, hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, I make all of the ladies, yeah, for bring all of the babies, you see. So, zongo, 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 zeng, yeah. Zongo, 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 zeng, yeah. Zongo, 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 zeng, yeah. Zongo, 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 zeng. Say if you have a phone, you must get a chip. And if you get a ticket, then you're gone on a trip. And if you get a rhythm, you fit DJ lyrics. Now watch where them a say. Now watch the critics. And when me put on me boots, yeah, ball a go kick. And if a drama you want, tune into Netflix. Miss a flu and miss a genge, me no need fix. Just send with a girl, like give me a proper fix. Don't tell them, fool them, no bad like a this. A yellow man first sing this. Oh, we go again. Zongo, 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 zeng, yeah. 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 Bend your back and wine a joy. This a big man, this a no boy. This make you vibrate, this a no tie. This make you fat up like a Las Colasai. Girl, you're ready for the baby boy.
Sounds of Beanie Man.
The neighbor see her on the wall a climb. The nosy neighbor him nearly.
Oh.
So
Tuesday morning, my friends.
119. So it's a lucky thing we done on time. And I say, zongo, 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 zeng, yeah. 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 Sang digga digga dang dang digga digga dang dong digga digga dang. Brr bang sang digga 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 dang dong 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 digga digga dang dong.
There we go. We are live inside the building. It is Brekky In The Cave. We are live on Cubcam TV and, of course, Trickstar Radio as well. Out to the locked-in crew this morning. We have got a fantastic show on the way, and I could not be happier to be here this morning. Got up nice and early, just especially to make sure that we were able to make sure the show ran nice and smoothly. We've got two fantastic guests on the way today, and I'm looking forward to getting into it. Out to a man like Ritz in the chat, nice and early. That's what I'm talking about, bro. Good to see you. I hope lockdown's been treating you well. Although I've got to say, you were meant to jump on Fortnite a few weeks ago with me and SoundCloud, and you never did. So we've got to play that at some point. I'm not a COD fan. Before we even get there, I'm not a fan of it. I'm still a Fortnite guy. But there we go. Out to everyone locking in this morning, and of course checking things back via the podcast. We're going to talk about the podcast in a few minutes, as we always do at the start of the show. For the time being, though, let's let you know exactly what we've got going on today. We've got some fantastic news to look at. We're going to be looking into obviously the idea that No Signal Radio is finally going to be launching its crowdfunding campaign to get a permanent studio space. Really cool to look at that. We're going to be looking at Kanye running for president in 2020 and how just out there it is as a concept. We're going to be looking at what's actually going to happen with IB for this year. Is it going to open or isn't it going to open? They're the three main topics we're looking at this morning. We're looking at No Signal Radio finding a studio. We're looking at Kanye running for president, and will Ibiza open? You know what? We're getting quite topical on this show these days, so there we go. As I said before, out to the locked in crew and everyone locking in, please do make sure you are hitting that like button and of course letting us know where you are locking in from. That's the most important part of this show. We want to create some level of community. We want this channel to become one of these platforms that is one of the respected interview platforms, and I think we are very much on the way. We hit 575 subscribers this morning. The aim, of course, is to hit 600 by the end of the week, so we've got to go up 25 more by the end of the week. Can we do it? I think we can do it. I think we can go up 25 subs in 6 days. I think we can do that. We did 70 in 5 last week, so there we go. One way that you guys can help with that, however, is to share the streams and tell people to subscribe. It does make a massive difference. I know it might seem like shouting in the dark a little bit, but I have found it makes a huge difference. The more the channel's name gets mentioned, the more people are likely to take notice, and it does actually boil down to that. It is that simple. Guest-wise, today, we've got some fantastic stuff on the way. We're going to be talking, firstly, to Escape Roots. I seem to have got them the wrong way around on the pictures, but it doesn't matter. It's my show. I can do what I want. Escape Roots will be joining us from 10:30. He's literally just shared my Instagram story, so I can see that there. We're going to be talking to him about reggae in Scotland and just his new album and everything he's been working on. We played a few bits off his album quite recently, and I went, you know what? Let's get him in for the conversation. I'm trying to expand the reggae side of things on this channel. Obviously, we've had Mungo's Hi-Fi in, we've had Vision Alexander recently as well. We've had Ruben De Silva in, King's Hi-Fi. We've had loads of different systems. So I'm really looking forward to talking to Escape Roots as well. That's what we're trying to do with this channel as much as anything. Expand the musical basis. As well as that, we're going to be talking to a man like Dixon, one of the most popular MCs on London's radio circuit right about now. He's been putting in some absolute work over the last couple of years. We're going to be talking to him about his new releases, new music he's been working on during lockdown, grime in general, and radio in general, and how important that still is to grime culture across the UK. So there we go. It's going to be a fantastic show. Let's get into our intro properly. It says 6 minutes in. Let's get into our intro properly. Obviously, you can catch myself on pretty much every social media platform, bar TikTok. I simply refuse. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and SoundCloud. You can see in the top right-hand corner at KXVU. That is the way to get hold of me, and I'm busy these days. I'm active on all of them. If you are listening to the show and go, you know what, I actually just want to listen to this in podcast format, I don't necessarily want to have the video element there, you can lock in via Spotify, Apple Music, and SoundCloud as well. All of those platforms we are available on, and you can check out the podcast there. So there we go. The telly's frozen. No, it hasn't. We're good. As well as that, quick word from our sponsors, Sharpen Digital. They are, of course, the alternative to hiring social media managers. They make a massive difference to this show, helping out with SEO and ideas and things like that. So there we go. They are the official sponsor of Brekky In The Cave. And one more time, hit that subscribe button. You know what we're trying to do. We're trying to hit this 600 mark by the end of this week, because that means we've done 100 in 2 weeks, 4 weeks in a row. Now that shows growth. And the thing is, what I've worked out with YouTube algorithms as much as anything else is once you start getting onto their screens on a regular basis, they will continue to push you. It's almost like it's like a like-for-like basis. If you continue to attract attention, they will then give you attention back, and it works like that. So there we go. Out to my locked-in crew each and every time this morning. As I said before, please do make sure you're hitting that like button. It makes a massive difference to the show, and it makes a massive difference to the growth as well. So there we go. Let's get into one of our first tracks of the day. We're going to be getting into this one, which I'm really looking forward to. Sounds of Jodeli alongside Take Note. This one going by the name of the Mambo remix. Now, I heard this one floating around on GRM the other day. Didn't manage to get a reaction video in purely because I was not in a good place on Sunday. It's that simple. Obviously, first time. I didn't go to a pub. I went to a friend's house, so that was the first time I've actually been out and been sourced outside, which is an unusual feeling after all this time. So there we go. I was not feeling good on Sunday, so I didn't really have a chance to react to it. However, we are going to be supporting the tune because it is an absolute banger. Out to my the Take Note crew. Obviously, I've been supporting them for a long period of time now. Battle rap friends and all that good stuff. So let's get into this one. Don't go anywhere. It's Brekky In The Cave. Oh yes.
Mambo Italiano, the remix. Mambo Italiano, Joe Deli, Take Jody, Emparelli, Mambo Italiano, Flawless, Mambo Italiano, Epic Linko, SWAT team familiar. Mambo the remix, toast to the bad life. You already know what the gang like. Man, I'm out on the road with the wax high, and I'm aiming your man and I'm a clap twice. To them boy right there, yeah, it's nap time. Now he's gone, I'm a yam nice. He was dragging his feet, I don't drag mine. Now I'ma put it on your backside, bump and grind, yes, and I two-step with it. Swag team, my crew rep with him. My G's, we do set limits. It's Kanye Wave, we do step different. New Nikes, blue check in them. Entro roll, 2 reps in it. When you see all the gal, them step to toxic, got these dudes get livid. Yeah, gang dope, kill. Man's cold, I can't stay, girl. Banco, shake, girl. Mambo, A-word, man show. I don't play on stage, no panto. It's the swag team, take no playboy light of your girlfriend's life, or damn sure. Don't be pissed if your girl goes missing, it just means that swag teams to get air bigger. That means that my gang gets scared of ya. Don't care if you're mad and rear it up. I tell gal, I'll take care of ya. I'm saving ya, and I said all these women dancing with the talkie, cause I'm wavy in it. Hit Mambo, hit Mambo.
with your daily cause we wavy.
Spit like kamikaze, I might snap like paparazzi. Chicks is sipping on Bacardi as I'm going to the party. See nobody in the lobby, had to take her to my yachty just to get a little naughty on a board like Lil Yachty.
We be mobilizing, we just need it, we advising. 2020 got me smiling, yeah, like Tyson, like Tyson.
She wanna read a photo, cause I be ballin' like Roundup. Trapping in the bando, so they gotta act the mango. Such a thing she can tango, till I pull my pants down and show her something she can handle. Don't get playing like a banjo.
Hey, big gorillas and H-Stone.
We on the stage lows.
Okay, we getting peso.
Wait, you got some rock by the case lows.
Okay, JD and Wade, bro.
She slide on my down pole.
I'm tryna get brain slow.
Okay. Hit my move.
Remix.
Hit my move. Hit my move.
If you're going to go and remix a tune like Mambo, come on. What a fantastic rework that is. Coming from Joe Deli and Take Note, of course. Fantastic link up there. The video for that one is out now via GRM Daily. Very happy to be supporting that one. Out to Take Note as well. They're always busy working away with radio features and things like that. Obviously, they run Sarcasm City up in Manchester, and I know they run a very, I know Flawless runs a very kind of interesting football podcast as well, / radio show. Very interesting stuff, and I'm always interested in people that are putting multiple pieces of content out there. You know, I think it's something that eludes a lot of people, and I think being able to continuously put long form content out there makes a massive difference to how you're kind of perceived in this industry. Because if you're able to build up multiple platforms that have all of these different elements to them, you attract more people in. It's that simple, and that's what we're trying to do with the channel, of course. Out to the locked in crew, please let us know where you're locking in from. We've got some fantastic stuff on the way, of course. Going to be speaking to the Escape Roots Don himself in around 15 minutes, just over 15 minutes or so. So that's coming up, and then following that, we will be speaking to man like 10 Dixon as well. So there is loads of stuff on the way, and obviously what we're trying to do is grow. More than anything else, we're trying to grow. So let's get into the first of today's bits of news. Now, this one comes to us from DJ Mag. Obviously, DJ Mag and Mix Mag. It was very sad to hear about Mix Mag the other day. I don't even think I've spoken about it on this show, but obviously a genuine UK underground music institution in Mixmag, and it's very sad to hear that they have now completely ceased their physical press, which I'm very, very sad about. It's something that it genuinely did touch me. Obviously, I'm friends with a fair few of the Mixmag journalists these days, and it's just to kind of think about the fact that they're not going to be able to live off it anymore is quite a sad thing. Obviously, not having that physical printout of a representative of UK underground culture, I think, is going to be a very sad thing as well. Obviously, it was one of those things that producers used to look for. You know, it was one of the high points of a campaign. Oh, are we in Mixmag? Did we make it into Mixmag? Did we make it in? And that's always been like a big thing, especially in regards to what we've been doing with South Point. It's always been a huge thing looking for that Mixmag review. Now, obviously, DJ Mag do reviews as well, and that's obvious. That's amazing. I love to see it. But Mixmag is kind of like the UK one, you know, and it is sad to see that it's no longer functioning, which is it is very sad to see. And it's something that we're not really going to get over it anytime soon. I do hope at some point they are able to enter back into the world of printing, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon. Out to the 3000 base crew joining us this morning. Always good to see you, my friends. So yeah, let's jump into this bit of news over on DJ Mag. However, No Signal Radio launches crowdfunding campaign for a permanent studio. This is very interesting indeed, because we've all seen, unless you're completely blind, we've all seen the versus clashes that have been taking place over on this platform, over on No Signal. We've seen loads and loads of them. We've seen, obviously, I'm trying to think of what the biggest one was. I mean, there's been loads. There's literally been loads. I can't even think of one off the top of my head, but there's been a lot of them running through the last few months. And it's been one of the highlights of lockdown, seeing these clashes in this format. But yeah, the Black British online radio station, which attracted 129,000 listeners from across 166 countries during the global coronavirus lockdown, are hoping to secure a permanent status on the airwaves through fundraising. Very good idea. Over the last 3 months, No Signal has been keeping communities around the world entertained. No Signal's parent company, High Roller, said from the legendary standoff between WizKid and Vybz Kartel. That was the big one. That was the one I remember shutting down the internet. As part of the iconic NS10v10 series, and premiering exclusive tracks from some of our favourite artists such as Millions and Unknown T, to hosting important community-led conversations organisations around the Black Lives Matter movement and supporting initiatives such as the BYP Network and the Black Curriculum. They say we've had some incredible guests such as Julie Adenuga, Ian Wright, Ray BLK gracing our airwaves, with special shouts out to OGs such as Daniel Sturridge and Adele. No Signal has created a home for a new wave of new black radio. Very true indeed, and it's been awesome to see. It's been awesome to see the growth. It's been awesome to see just how involved people have been getting with it. The fact that anything these days can shut down a Twitter timeline, and the fact they've done it so many times is just awesome to see, man. I really, really love it. And they are very much entering back into that essence of what radio is all about for me. It's just about bringing those exclusive vibes that you're not going to hear anywhere else. And that's why I've loved the Clash content so much. It's been awesome to see. They've put out a statement saying, with your help, we aim to step forward and create homegrown black British content that resonates with communities around the world. We want to create a sustainable home for the future of black radio and entertainment. High Roller has started the crowdfunder in the process to try and raise $450,000 to secure a HR Studio One to run their operations, which includes No Signal and UK party Recess, and strive to build a new generation of black-owned media and entertainment. You can check out No Signal online and donate to the crowdfunding campaign online as well. So there we go. Good stuff. Awesome stuff. I'm always a fan of seeing crowdfunding campaigns going well. You know, it's always a good thing to see. And I think overall with this one, there are very few people who've seen No Signal and haven't instantaneously fallen in love with what it is and what it represents and where it comes from. I think the idea of it being almost like a glue that kind of brought a lot of music heads together during this lockdown situation has been awesome to see. And I'm looking forward to seeing how the project goes in the future. Let's jump into some more music though, shall we? Yes, good idea, Cub. This next one coming to us from, what should we get into? Yeah, let's do this. Let's get into this one. XL Mad on this one, produced by Numa Crew. This one going by the name of Real Reggae Music. Been a tune that it's been floating around my inbox for a couple of days, and I'm very happy to be spinning it this morning. Very much looking forward to it. I love the fact that now on this show we are able to play fresh reggae music pretty much as soon as it hits the shelves, and I'm loving it. It's one of the things I've always kind of disliked about doing a lot of the shows I have done, is that I haven't really been able to represent playing reggae music as much as I would like to. Like, obviously it's the genre that I grew up listening to. That's like the home ground. Obviously grime is what I've been involved in most during my life, and dubstep as well, I suppose, to an extent, but I genuinely feel that reggae is the most important genre of music to ever hit the UK, and I don't mind putting that on camera because that's what I genuinely believe. So there we go. Let's get into this one then. Don't go anywhere. We're live on Trickstar Radio as well as Cubcam TV. It's Brekky In The Cave.
Reggae music all night, all day, yeah. Reggae music all night, just real reggae music all night, all day, yeah. Dance all of the set, I feel place up the chalwa on the sound system, yeah. Unity we want in on the dance, we are blessed by the most high. We no fear system, Babylon a fall like rain, yeah. Them a want your soul, them a get in on your head. Chemicals in the ground, in the air. Babylon every time I want to trick where Judge a bless to get to you to want to set free. The most of them will never understand where you never have to work Sunday to Sunday. Get to you to rise, you have to make it. The cage in your head, you have to break it. All of them a try to hide them head, but them can't fly away.
Yo, this is Ellie Savancing, and you're listening to Breakfast with KXVU.
One time, two time, 4 fights, been fine. Sizzler, push you on, man, a combine. Cancer time. Don't play special like a thunderball. We play mini man, burro bantanan, busy signal. Super cat, warehouse, and the big.
Sounds of XL Mad on this one, produced by Numa Crew. Out to the Locked In crew this morning as well. Throw a like on the video, lads. Go on. Do me a favour, makes a massive difference.
Stepping out of Babylon like bro lion. Yes, we step on. Running out fast at them Babylon and Devon. We can't stand one more second. New underground, massive alliance. Stepping out of Babylon like bro lion. Yes, we step on. Running out fast at them Babylon and Devon. We can't stand one more second.
What's going on, people? people, it's Razor. You're live and direct, locked into the waviest breakfast on the airwaves. Man like a
Reggae
bang,
music
bang, bang.
all night, all day. Yeah. Reggae music all night, just real reggae music all night, all day. Yeah. Dance all of the set, off the place of the Chalwa, on the sound system. Yeah. Unity we want in on the dance, we are blessed by the Most High. We no fear system. Babylon a fall like rain. Good reggae music all night, all day. Yeah. Reggae music all night, just real reggae music all night, all day.
Excellent stuff coming from man like XL Mad. That one, real reggae music. Out to the Gorilla Promo Gang for sending that one over. I'm loving the fact that we've got so many bangers on the way, bro. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So we're going to look at it. We're going to take a brief look before we jump onto the phone with man like Escape Routes. It's been floating around for a couple of days. I can't ignore it any longer. Kanye West is running for president. Is it real? Is this where we are? This is where we are in life now, isn't it? This is where we are in 2020. Kanye has apparently upheld his original quote saying he was going to run for president in 2020, and apparently he has. Kanye West has announced he is running for president of the United States. Do I have to say it any more times? As Independence Day drew to a close, the Chicago-hailing rapper announced the news on Twitter. He said, "We must now realize the promise of America by trusting God, unifying our vision, and building our future. I am running for president of the United States." Okay, Kanye, let's go. It's not clear if Kanye has filed the necessary paperwork to facilitate his political aspirations, but there is still time to do so in many states. Currently, the front runners in the presidential campaign are Donald Trump for the Republican Party and Joe Biden of the Democrats. Billionaire Elon Musk endorsed Kanye's campaign on Twitter, suggesting if the news is true, Kanye will have no problem seeking financing from rich donors. Kanye teased a presidential campaign before. The rapper previously said that he would make himself a candidate for the 2024 election, writing, "Only after 2024. Let's stop worrying about the future. All we have today is today. We just have today." Okay, Kanye, very good. 2020 has been extremely busy for the West family, with the rapper reaching billionaire status and signing to an extensive deal with Gap to release Yeezy clothes to the masses. As well as that, there's been a few other bits as well for Kanye. He has been quite busy this year, to be fair. Fans are also patiently waiting for the release of the new album God's Country, which is originally slated to drop in May. It hasn't, of course. I think everything's been kind of pushed back due to the current scenario, but there we go. Kanye for president, what do we think, people? I won't lie, I think it would be no different to how it currently is now. I genuinely don't think there'd be much difference, being 100% honest with you. But then I don't live in America, so I don't know the ins and outs. From the outside, I think it would look exactly the same. But that's me, you know, that's me looking at it. I don't know the ins and outs of American politics. I mean, it's quite easy for us as UK people, realistically, to sit here and say, oh, they're doing all of this wrong, they're doing all of that wrong. And to be honest, it's probably just as bad here, realistically, in regards to political scandal, let's be honest. But I'm not talking about politics anymore. I'll get wound up. Robotic scientists will speed up discovery. Another bit of news that I wanted to jump into, because we've got a few minutes before we jump on the phone. Scientists at the University of Liverpool have unveiled a robotic colleague that has been working non-stop in their lab throughout lockdown. The 100,000 programmable researcher learns from its results to refine its experiments. This is the Matrix. This is how it happens. That they're building robots that learn on purpose. This is where we are. The Matrix is 3 years away, trust me. It can work autonomously, so can run experiments from home, said Benjamin Berger, one of the developers. Such technology can make scientific discovery 1,000 times faster, scientists say. But is this good? Do we want to be discovering things 1,000 times faster? We're already moving faster than most people can deal with as it is. Do we want to be rapidly advancing that much to the point where the idea of invention has become normalized? I don't know. I quite like it when new things happen. And if new things happen to the point where it's happening 1,000 times quicker, we'll become normalized to new things. The idea of wonder in invention, the idea of wonder of creation that we would then lose. I'm getting very philosophical this morning, aren't I? But that idea of the wonder of creation that we would lose if it became normalized and it was an everyday occurrence. I don't know, man. I'm a bit of a weird one with this type of thing, because I do wholeheartedly believe the most important thing when it comes to when it comes to invention is basically matching necessity. When something is needed is when it needs to be invented just before it becomes needed. That's, I think, how things are. But I think we're at a point now where we have such luxury when it comes to invention. We had so long of slow moving, like throughout the Dark Ages, whatever, of slow moving technology. We're now at a point where new tech is literally unveiled every week. And if it becomes 1,000 times faster than that, as it already is, obviously we'd end up being way ahead of where we're behind anyway as a species. That's pretty obvious. But we'd end up being way. The speed, I don't know if people could deal with that speed increase, if I'm being 100% honest. I don't think people could deal with that speed increase of going... I think people would get left behind. I think people would get angry. And I think it would actually increase this idea of let's go back to the old days, which I think... is obviously the boomer catchphrase currently. But let's crack on. The robot scientist is currently embarking on a series of tests to find a catalyst that could speed up the reaction that takes place inside solar cells. But it could, according to Professor Andy Cooper, the materials... That doesn't make sense. The materials scientist who's put the robot to work in his lab be used to fight against COVID-19. Okay, that does make sense. We've had a lot of interest in the robot from labs that are doing COVID research, he told BBC News. COVID, climate change, there are lots of problems that really need international cooperation to solve. So our vision, we might have like robots like this is all across the world, connected by a centralized brain that can be anywhere. It's the Matrix. They are describing the Matrix. A centralized brain. You see it in the third one. It pops up and it looks like a big electronic bag of worms. We're opening a can of worms. That's what we're doing by doing this. And yeah, it's a very, very terrifying thing. We are entering the Matrix, people. That's where we are. It's where we're heading. And that's not a conspiracy theory. It's literally happening in front of our eyes. But let's jump into some new music then, shall we? This one on the way, coming to us from Juma and Fork and Knife. Now, this one is forthcoming on Cocobolo Sound. Big fan of the label. Been trying to promote them as much as possible. I do have an interview coming out with Juma and MPH on Thursday over on 3000.co.uk, so do keep your eyes peeled for that. We're going to get into this one now, and then following that, we're going to get onto the phone with Man Like Escape Route. So it's going to be a very enjoyable show. Don't go anywhere. Keep it locked. Throw a like on the video if you're locked in. I can see how many of you are locked in. I can see how many likes we've got. So make sure you throw a like on it. Takes less than a second to do. Why not? Why wouldn't you? You know, why not? Takes less than a second. As well as that, hit that subscribe button if you're locking in for the first time. We are trying to hit 600 by the end of the week. So yeah, we will see you all in just a second. This one, Juma and Fork and Knife, forthcoming Cocobolo Sound, going by the name of Pattern It.
The new flow, head top spinning, shut down the show. Pepper on the beat, season the set. When I add a little heat, reel up the deck. Yeah, Lord of the dance, can't catch soon as the music starts. Stepping on shoes in my Timberland boots, I be kicking and bruising, I'm moving past. They be like, oi, Drummond's on a mad one again. Done bad, damage on a rampage again. Unique, no, it ain't like none of them. Truth be, I don't even like none of them. I got my OGs and my day ones and my cousins. Nothing but love for my brothers. Fork and knife on the buttons. Drummer got bars in abundance. Extra, giving out more than a lot. Shit hot, man, I'm pulling out all of the stops. Expert, guess who's calling the shots? I'm a boss, I'm the one who put the ball on the spot. Then I kick it right out of the park like have it. Who's on what, who's really about it? I'm out here causing a racket. Chat shit like I done all of the packet. And that's why they call it a banger. Talk game with a gulliest grammar. I got the blueprint, I got the pattern. I leave a soundboy dead when I pattern it. And that's why they call it a banger. Talk game with a gulliest grammar. Got the blueprint, got the pattern. I leave a soundboy dead when I pattern it. Pattern it, pattern it, pattern it. Yeah, pattern it, pattern it. I leave a soundboy dead when I pattern it. Yeah, pattern it, pattern it, pattern it, pattern it. Yeah, pattern it, pattern it, pattern it. I leave a soundboy dead when I pattern it. Boy, think you're bigger than Big Ben, but your name ain't ringing any bells, my friend. Just air, don't give a shit, don't care. Man's out here on a wing and a prayer. I'm blessed, I and I rise to the test. Arms out here with chest, full court press. Show a man down on a set like we ain't even breaking a sweat. When I'm exhaling the highest grade, like the finest wine, I savor the taste. Elevate up to a heightened state through the inner mind's I see time and space. Chilling with the gods, made it against all odds. I'ma take my reign at the top, whipping up a storm. Firing lightning bolts, now you're fighting the final boss. See my name on the board, all-time high score. Fuck up the dance floor, pull up but don't pause. We be doing up tours, they call for encores. I'm obliged of course if you go once more. Hi. And that's why they call it a banger. Talk game with the gulliest grammar. Got the blueprint, got the patent. I leave a soundboy dead when I patent it. That's why they call it a banger.
Right then, friends, we're going to be jumping into this conversation with man like Escape Routes in just a second. It looks like we've got a slight issue with his WhatsApp. It's looking like it's out of date for some reason. But we're going to do that in just a second, and we will be calling him up in just a second as well. Out to the locked-in crew this morning. I'm very much enjoying today's show. It's been fun so far. Some good bangers to play. We're going to keep the music rolling, obviously, whilst that update takes place, and we'll get into the conversation with him in just a hot second as well. But yeah, let us know how you're feeling this morning. If you're enjoying the show, if you're enjoying the context, the topics we're discussing, because we've gone for a fair few bits. You know, we're keeping it nice and varied this morning, more than anything else. And of course, we are going to be talking to man like 10 Dixon at 11 as well. So I'm hoping this update doesn't take too long from Escape Routes, so we can get into the conversation as soon as possible. So there we go. Right then, let's jump into another banger in just a second. This one coming to us from man like Obia. This one going by the name of Dead in This Ting, obviously featuring man like Trim. It's a absolute banger, so let's get into it. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, my friends. I was expecting an update to take a fair amount of time, but it seems to have happened almost instantaneously.
No, we've got 4G now, so we're rapid.
Oh, there we go, man. Like man,
WhatsApp in a wee while.
There we go. Escape Routes is on the line this morning. How are you doing, my friend? Are you all good?
Yeah, doing wicked, man. Doing wicked. Just had some breakfast, a cup of tea.
Lovely stuff. Lovely stuff. So I can't help but recognise an accent I thoroughly enjoy. So where are you based?
I'm based in Glasgow just now. I'm originally from Dumfries, which is like south of Scotland. But yeah, I lived in Glasgow for the past 4 years now.
Nice, man. Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's a nice vibe in Glasgow. It's good sound system scene, pretty spoilt for good music. It's yeah, I like it, man.
Awesome, man. I mean, this. I mean, obviously we've got a lot of stuff to discuss today on the show, which should be very enjoyable. We're going to be looking for obviously the new album, obviously the new bits off there. We've got some bangers to play as well. But what I want to kind of dive into in the beginning is kind of like your roots and where your kind of musical upbringing comes from. So obviously with yourself, how did you first kind of stumble into finding this love for reggae music?
Well, I think it started, my dad was always playing reggae records. He was always quite into his ska, more punk side of things. And then hearing like Pendulum as well and the reggae influences they had when I was maybe like 11, 12, kind of started to develop a kind of a love for reggae. Heard Mungo's Hi-Fi. They were running sound system sessions in Glasgow and Scotland since 2005.
Yeah.
And maybe when I was about 14, went to a festival called Knockengorrock Festival. And they have the sound system set up for the whole weekend, and I think that was my first sort of sound system reggae experience with Mungo's Hi-Fi. And then since then I kind of knew I wanted to produce that kind of music.
Awesome, man. Well, I definitely think if we're going to talk about a first sort of system experience, there aren't many that you could rank up there above like seeing a full Mungo setup, I feel.
Yeah, I think especially the way those guys select tunes and just the way they run everything from the business to the sound system, those guys are killing it, and definitely been a big inspiration for sure.
Definitely, man. I mean, we had Mungo's Hi-Fi on the show towards the end of last year, and it was it was really good to kind of talk to them, especially about, as you say, the kind of setup and the way all the behind the scenes stuff they do. Like in regards to yourself, like obviously making music, you tend to find with reggae it's quite like a studio genre more than anything else, because there are a lot of live elements. There's a lot of of vocals in play, like when you record, do you tend to record from home, or do you have a studio space that you go to? How does it work?
I've got a studio set up at home. Sometimes I'll record vocals at home. Like we've got a big cupboard that we've converted out into like a recording space.
Lovely.
For like home recordings, but generally for recording vocals, I'll send them the rhythm track and they'll record wherever with their own setups. So I'm kind of used to working with loads of different vocal setups and various qualities of recordings. At home I like record brass, I record guitar, I play keyboards, kind of my strong point. So that's kind of where I'm comfortable, and producing beats. I leave the instruments to the professionals.
Yeah. Okay. Very nice. I mean, it's cool. It's cool to hear, because obviously with this show, more than anything else, I tried to dive into kind of the different sort of musical areas around the UK, and obviously we spoke quite briefly there on obviously being quite spoilt for choice in Glasgow when it comes to sort of music culture and stuff. Would you say that system culture is very much alive and well in Glasgow at the moment?
Yeah, there's so many new sound systems being built like all the time. There's at least 3 warehouses I know of where people have their sound systems and build them and work on them all from scratch. So there's definitely the kind of just DIY, do it yourself from the ground up mentality in Glasgow, which is really nice. And that's not just in the reggae scene. We've got sound systems pushing like Afrobeat kind of music, drum and bass, loads of different kind of things in Glasgow. So it's cool.
Definitely, man.
The sound system scene strong.
What I was going to say is it feels almost to an extent like when people are planning UK tours and people are planning sort of all the different venues they're going to play around the UK, you always see a Birmingham on there, you always see a Manchester, you always see a Bristol. I feel to an extent Glasgow is a bit of an untapped gem.
Kind of, yeah. And music just gets such a good response in Glasgow. The crowds just go crazy. So I think a lot of Jamaican artists who have passed through, like Sister Nancy, and there's a venue called the Rum Shack, and just over the years hundreds and hundreds of Jamaican artists have played there. And yeah, I guess we are quite lucky for that. It's not always kind of top on the UK touring list, but you know that anyone coming to tour here is going to have a good time.
Yeah, it must be quite a cool thing as well. Like because I'd assume in that case when people kind of turn up for a tour show, they're a bit like, I don't know how this one's going to go. Like we're not too sure about it. And then suddenly they have one of the best shows of the tour. That must be quite gratifying for you guys.
Yeah. Obviously before the whole pandemic situation, we were running a weekly night called Walk and Skank.
Yeah.
At the Berkeley Suite, and it's like a smallish venue, maybe about 200 capacity, but yeah, we've been lucky enough to bring just so many UK reggae artists, European artists, like every week. So yeah, in terms of consistency, we're pretty spoiled.
Yeah, I mean it's sick to hear. Like I mean, I always hear good things about Glasgow. Like my main kind of knowledge of Glasgow music wise comes from more the sort of the grime side of things. Obviously with like Levels Radio and things like that. That's where my sort of influx comes from.
There's a big grime scene and community in Glasgow for sure. Those guys are killing it.
And I think the interesting thing that comes from that is how actually similar the sort of mentalities are. Where it's, look, we're just going to build this for ourselves.
Yeah, well, especially at Walk and Skank, which is a reggae night, there's a bit of like an open mic policy at times for MCs to just come down and have a shot and get involved. And there's always grime MCs, hip hop MCs, singers, like folk singers, just all different styles, just coming down and getting involved and kind of doing their thing over some reggae, which it's cool to see.
Definitely, man. I mean,
that mix.
Obviously with reggae as well, it is the kind of godfather genre of all of these genres that have kind of come from it. So to see obviously that kind of almost not necessarily even appreciation, but to kind of see that kind of practice take place over the original sort of toasting sound. Do you ever see people and go, they should definitely switch and do this permanently?
Yeah. There's a lot of people in Glasgow, especially, that kind of just do it as a hobby, and I definitely just want to hear more. Especially when it's different styles on reggae, and they kind of feel the vibe in the dance and feel how well it works. yeah, definitely want to hear like a lot more crossovers, especially from like folk singers and grime singers, things like that.
Yeah,
works so nice with the reggae style.
Definitely, man. I mean, this is why it's fun to have these conversations more than anything else, because I'm just in my head now. I'm almost daydreaming away, going, oh, it'd be cool to hear that on that. It'd be cool to hear that on that, and it gets you quite excited, especially from like a production angle as well. You can kind of imagine these things. But before we get carried away, let's jump into the first tune of today. We're going to get into this one, which is "Sweep Over My Soul," featuring, I believe, is it Chan Finn or is it Cian Finn?
Kian Finn.
Kian Finn. There we go. I'm so dreadful with names, reading them off the screen. I need to hear them first time. I should have asked, but there we go. I did ask and we got away with it. So this one, "Sweep Over My Soul." Talk to me about this tune.
Last year around about mid-April, Kian came over to Glasgow. We booked him for Walk and Skank to come and do his live show, where he dub mixes and sings all himself. He just runs the whole thing himself.
Sick.
Like he's playing the tunes, singing, and doing all the effects. He kills it. But he was here for like 4 days, so we had a few days to kind of hang out and work on some stuff. And I showed him some tunes, he was showing me some stuff, and we just kind of got going from there. And "Sweep Over My Soul" is the result from that week, the studio session that week. We kind of just kept chipping away at it. I made a kind of bass beat for it, he did the vocals, and then after he left, I just kept tinkering with it and working with it until it is what it is now. Yeah. Amazing, man. Well, we're going to get into this one now. We are live on Trickstar Radio and Cubcam TV. Escape Routes is on the line all the way from Glasgow. Don't go anywhere, my friends. Hit that subscribe button and, of course, throw a like on the video.
Yes, we're digging deeper. Yes, we're digging deeper.
Sweep over my soul. 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 I know sometimes the road in life is rough. Love will sweep over my soul.
Yes, we're digging deeper. Yes, we're digging deeper.
Said it's a sweeper, 7 days a week between the bass and the beat. Melodious and sweet, geez Louise, knock your knees. Set your mind at ease, we're going in, we're digging deeper. Yes, we're digging deeper.
Yes, we're digging deep.
Turn it up, feel the heat. Are you glued to your seat? Are you glued to a screen? Are you glued to a scene that predetermines what you seek, predetermines what you need, predetermines what you dream? So it seems we're on teams. When the rain washes you clean,
You know.
Right then, my friends, we're back inside the building, live on the line with man like Escape Routes, all the way from Glasgow, and we're having a discussion so far about kind of system culture up the road and just how that kind of came together for you essentially. And now we're going to move on, obviously, with that being a perfect segue into the album. So this is obviously the main reason we're kind of here. This is how we first got talking as well. Obviously, there was I put a review together for Juno for the album, and like just as a project overall, when did it first come together? When did the spark of inspiration first strike?
Yeah, it's kind of been quite a long process. I've always since I started producing wanted to get an album out there, but it was maybe about 3 years ago I decided I had a few vocals, sitting on a few rhythms. I thought, right, this is a good kind of base for building around. yeah, and it's just kind of happened quite naturally. None of the, it's a selection of tracks that I kind of felt right for a digi album. It's been a gradual thing. I didn't just decide one day to do an album. It was like, all right, cool, I've got enough tunes to put something out proper. And yeah, spent so much time getting concepts for the album, picking the order, obviously getting the vinyl pressed. Then there's so many aspects to it, so it's taken a long time, but I'm really happy with the results, man.
Definitely, man. I mean, when obviously with the Juno work I do tend to get sent a fair few albums every week, and it's always pleasing when I get one that I can actually sit and listen to on long play, and I can sit and listen through the entire way through and enjoy it for what it is, rather than it almost being, because this doesn't really feel like it's just a random collection of tracks. It does feel very cohesive.
Yeah, it took a while to sort of arrange it like that, but yeah, I'm happy. It's got some flavors of roots. It's got some digi flavors. All the vocals in particular, they've got a decent message and a decent theme to them. So yeah, I'm kind of the whole message of the album has come together really nice. And I'm really grateful for all the singers and musicians that are involved in it.
Definitely,
sure.
man. I mean, as ever with, I feel any sort of production-based reggae album is going to have a lot of vocal collaborations involved. I feel there's always going to be a few floating around. Like, how many are involved in this one in total?
So 11 vocalists, and there's horn players, guitar players, bass players. I program all the drums myself. So yeah, it's a good 14, 15 people at least involved, and from all over the world. Only 2 of the vocals I've recorded here at home.
Wow.
So Ganja Socks are recorded in my house, and Find a Way with Tom Spirals, we recorded his part here, and then George Palmer, he recorded his part in Spain. Jago on Cool Down, he recorded his at Unit 137 in London, and they've got a wicked setup down there. There's a good family connection there. I've known those guys for years, so it was nice to get those guys involved.
Awesome.
Parley B in Doncaster, obviously Kian Finn from Ireland. So there's a good mix from all over. We've got Scary from Jamaica. He's from Mandeville, Jamaica, young singer. He's really talented. So yeah, it's a good mix from all over.
I think as well, obviously, with you mentioned it being like a good blend of sort of roots and digi, like, which I feel to an extent are the two kind of ends of reggae as a spectrum when we're looking at it kind of historically and even sonically. I feel that sort of the difference between sort of digi and roots is like where everything is. So when you're trying to like make stuff, like how much emphasis do you try to put on making it sound organic more than anything else?
A lot more recently I've been going for the old school sound, so I always try and have guitars. I try and have live bass where possible. A lot of tracks have got live brass. There's just something about live brass that when you have the 3 horn players playing together, you just can't beat it. So yeah, I mean, I always have lots of live elements in the tracks, and even if, for example, the drums are programmed in, I still want it to have that human feel. I don't want it to sound like I've clicked it in. It needs to sound kind of natural. So yeah, it's kind of that's kind of my direction with all productions. It needs to sound quite natural and not too clicked in,
Yeah,
especially with the digi stuff. It still needs to have that kind of raw human feel to it.
Definitely.
Which is quite hard to capture sometimes, but yeah.
Yeah, awesome, man. I mean, it's really cool to listen to you talking about that kind of process in a bit more detail as well. And then when you kind of combine it with the fact that it is such a worldwide project, there are so many kind of elements from literally across the globe that have gone into it. Is it a project you think you'll look back on in a few years and go, you know what, that was a big one for me?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the first album is always going to be that for anyone. I guess it's the first album, you can get tours off the back of it. If you package your work correctly, then there's a lot of opportunities to come from that. So yeah, I think I will look back on it and be think that was a big one for sure.
Awesome, man. I mean, as I said before, it was definitely one of the albums that I've kind of looked through when it comes to Juno stuff, and I was not even, I don't think impressed is even the right word, but I enjoyed the process of listening through it. Now, obviously, from a review perspective, you get sent a lot of music. By the end of it, you are tending to be quite tired. You're tending to be kind of like, okay, let's just get through this one. Let's get through this one. But I remember this popping up as the second to last one I had to do on the day, and it suddenly waking me up completely and being like, oh, I've been looking forward to something like this all day. So it's sick to see that it is kind of getting that reception that it kind of deserves. In regards to the next track we're going to play, this one goes by the name of Turn Your Lights On, which features Dark Angel. So talk to me about this one.
So that actually was the first ever tune I got voiced outside of Scotland, other than with local singers and MCs, and that was about 4 or 5 years ago. That was wow. Recorded and voiced, and is only just coming out. The single got released in April, so it's been a long process for that one. I've been sitting on that for a long time, playing it in dances. You know, it always goes down well on a sound system. Lyrically, it's definitely one of my favourite off the album. There's a lot of kind of hard-hitting truths in there, and the delivery, everything about it, he killed the vocals on that one.
Awesome, man. I mean, well, just to kind of to summarise the album, then obviously it's Pack Up and Run. It's out, I believe, in all stores.
Bandcamp is definitely the best place to buy it at the moment, but it's also in Lion Vibes and Juno and various different stores. But yeah, if you're looking to buy it, Bandcamp is definitely one of the places to go.
Definitely.
Yeah.
There we go. Good stuff. Right, let's play this one then. Escape Routes featuring Dark Angel. This one goes by the name of Turn Your Lights On. Out to my locked-in crew this morning. We are on the line with Escape Routes until 11. Following that, we're going to be talking to man like 10 Dixon, so don't go anywhere.
I ain't gonna think I'll turn on your inner light. Cause right now it's not a physical fight, it's a spiritual fight. That's how I forget lyrical, cause Babylon them now move to right. Yeah, manipulation, them used to fight. So most of the people now unite, but Babylon I take with fear right. Me see set off a slip and slide. You got to turn your lights on. Fist see through the smoke screens of confusion and illusion. You got to turn your lights on. Cause Babylon go foggy up the place with them evil pollution. You got to turn your lights on. Fist see through the smoke screens of confusion and illusion. You got to turn your lights on. I'm on me a revolution. Can't bring no solution. Truth to lack of knowledge, no for suffer whole leap. All over them eyes, so them a going like a sheep. Babylon program them, and now them get so weak. Inna the Yamakidi and enough take defeat. Warrior feel life, so me chest no retreat. Most I alone is like a lamb to my feet. Yell up on the struggle and the humble and the meek. Respect your life, cause Babylon I take it in. Me gun me bear the eagle and the dragon and the beast. One gonna make them know, say me fire can't cease. People over the north, south, the west and the east. One thing alone, me I beg on the place. You got to turn your lights on. To see through the smoke screens of confusion and illusion. You got to turn your lights on. Go Babylon, go foggy up the place with them evil pollution. You got to turn your lights on. To see through the smoke screens of confusion and illusion. You got to turn your lights on. I'm on me a revolution, can't bring no solution. Don't you see propaganda them spread? Them just a push poor people to the edge. Due to poverty, the streets are gone run red. The blind must be led and the hungry must be fed. You ever wonder why?
Right then, friends, we're back inside the building. Man like Escape Routes is on the line with us this morning. We're having a fantastic time discussing reggae music, discussing the new album, and we're going to move now on to talking about the future. So the album's out there. The response has been pretty good from what I've seen.
Yeah, man, Nice Up have done a good job. It's nice to see it on vinyl, nice to see it in lots of shops. It's getting good response from friends and people all over, man. Yeah, I'm happy with how it's going so far.
Awesome, man. Like, how did you find working with Nice Up? Because obviously I'm a massive fan of Nice Up as an imprint anyway, so it'd be cool to hear.
Well, yeah, that's it. Over the years, they've been fairly consistent in putting out good tunes and kind of keeping up with the styles from hip-hop to jungle to more trap stuff to dancehall, which is great to be involved in all that. those in the mix with loads of different artists of different styles, which is man, I'm really grateful for it.
Wicked, man, good to see. So let's move on to the future then. What is on the way from yourself?
So I've been busy working away on new stuff since the album. I've got a new single with the singer XL Mad from Italy. He was born in the Caribbean and then he's lived in Italy most of his life. He's got a really cool mix of Caribbean and European influences in his voice, and that's a more trap style, dancehall style thing, so it's kind of be a bit of a different direction for me, but I'm looking forward to putting that out.
Nice. So obviously with sort of collaboration and music then, is it something you are now looking to keep very, very very open? Are you looking to kind of continue to expand?
Well, we're lucky as producers to be able to just message anyone, and if they're feeling the idea, feeling the tune, feeling the concept, then there's no reason why it can't happen.
Of course.
In Glasgow, I've been working with a singer-songwriter called Wens. She's been writing some killer songs, and she just recently started doing reggae, and we've got a couple of singles lined up, so yeah, it's nice to work with different people from the Glasgow scene that are not just strictly reggae.
Yeah.
The singer-songwriter styles matching really nice. So yeah, we've got one single out so far. She did a remake of Beyonce, Crazy in Love, and we fully dubbed it out. You can get that on my Bandcamp.
I was going to say, that sounds absolutely wicked.
Yeah, so you can get that on our Bandcamp just now. We've got more singles on the way, but that's a good taster of what's to come and her vocal style. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Okay, cool. So we've got one more track to play from yourself today, which is, as we've been discussing today, we do have a remix on the way. This one, obviously, a rework of Samson Sound and Dandelion's Good Karma. Talk to me about this one before we finish up.
Well, I've known the Samson guys for years and years and years. They're really good friends. They've just got such a good atmosphere on stage and off stage. It's just always fun times with those guys. And Dandelion recently moved to Glasgow, last year. So there's been a good family connection there. And yeah, they asked me to dub it up. There was the original's more Afrobeat style, but all with horns and guitars and killer vocals, all really nice things to work with. So yeah, I just kind of went in and did a roots style thing.
I'm looking forward to getting into it more than anything else. I'm lost for words about how excited I am to get into it. So we're gonna finish up here then. One time before we do, what is the best place for people to get hold of you on socials?
Instagram, Facebook, Bandcamp are the main ones.
Wicked, man. Perfect way to. I think that's a perfect way to kind of round off then. So, enjoy the rest of your day. It's been really, really good to talk and obviously have you on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me on.
No worries at all, sir. So what we'll do is obviously we'll keep in contact. Any new music, please do send it over. We'd be very keen to support here
100%.
on Cubcam TV and of course Trickstar Radio as well. We're going to finish up with this one, Samson Sound and Dandelion with Good Karma. This one, the Escape Roots remix. Don't go anywhere, my friends. We are going to be joined by 10 Dixon in just a few seconds after this tune has played. So, Escape Roots, we'll speak soon and stay safe.
Big ups, man. Thanks a lot.
No worries at all.
Smooth when I want no drama. One day I wanna be a farmer. Yes, I walk talking calmer. Take off your armor, them call me a charmer. Talking smooth, me no want no drama. One day I wanna be a farmer. Getting ready for the fall. 1, 2, 3, everybody stand tall. Getting ready for the fall. 1, 2, 3, everybody stand tall. Getting ready for the fall. 1, 2, 3, everybody stand tall. Getting ready for the fall. 1, 2, 3, everybody stand tall.
Massive shouts out to Escape Roots. We're going to be jumping on the line with man like 10 Dixon in just a second.
Never thought I would catch you out raving, drinking beer on the pavement. Been so long where the days went, not sure that I am a changed man. But yeah, now let's not get heavy, put it behind, we'll let all our friends meet. Everybody feeling friendly, nobody out there trying to end me. Strolling calmly, I'm an owner of no army. In the city, people on me. In the city.
Right then, friends, we're back inside the building. We are live on Cubcam TV and, of course, Trickstar Radio via DAB in the Brighton area. Man like 10 Dixon joins us on the phone next. How are you doing, my friend? You good?
You good?
Good to hear, man. Good to hear. I've been looking forward to this one for a hot minute. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff to be discussed. There's a lot of stuff to kind of break down. Obviously, with yourself, you are someone who is very kind of active at the moment. You're someone who is very who's very much on the rise, I feel, within grime, which is always sick to see. So, with yourself, let's kind of go back to the beginning to kick this off. Under the name 10 Dixon, like, what was the first thing that drew you towards grime? Like, do you remember the first thing?
I think it was listening to Dizzy and Wiley, going back to back when I used to have LimeWire, just downloading all the sets, bro. And I used to just like listen to everyone. I used to listen to like Aftershock. I used to listen to Boys in the Hood. So it was just that whole thing of being in school. Everyone's just got that thing of grime. Power just about came out, so you're just getting to know who everyone is, and you just got that energy, bro, and you just kind of want to be a part of it, man.
Definitely, man. I think that kind of early energy, even to kind of describe it to people that kind of weren't there, to kind of describe that feeling of being essentially in a playground, listening to something that it kind of felt almost to an extent like it was like being part of a club, I feel.
Yeah, so if you can imagine, like, when something like a Power came out and listening to Dizzy Rascal and I Love You and all these songs, you're basically living through like what the Americans listen to now as like drill, thinking this is the hardest thing about, bruv.
Yeah.
You just want to be a part of it, but that's what grime was to me when I was listening to it then. It's that whole thing of like that imagery of like, yeah, a bag of man spitting, going to different raves. Everyone's got a different flow. They've got energy. It was just sick, man. I can remember being in school and just like people gaining up in groups of circles, trying to MC with lyric books and all these things. We're getting on buses, we're banging on bus windows, making the beat, Desert Storm, spitting back to back with each other, clashing each other, going to different schools to clash. So, bro, for me, it's like the foundations of what I was really going to get into, man.
Awesome, man. I mean, it's sick to kind of hear about it, and I can even hear from like the excitement in your voice, kind of looking back. Like, it's quite it's obviously it's not even that long ago in the grand scheme of things. But do you kind of get nostalgic, kind of looking back at those sort of first, more than anything else, those first sort of like feelings you used to get listening through those sort of earlier sort of grime sounds?
Yeah, man, I used to get so gassed, bro, going on LimeWire to download full sets, to download songs I'd never heard. So I'm having Bluetooth, sending them back to my friends, say, yo, bro, have you heard this version of this? Or have you heard this tune? Oh, they can't believe it. It's just that whole thing of especially for a young child, new music that you've never really taken in before. You're probably just used to seeing American or whatever else.
Of course, yeah.
Or coming from me, like where I'm Jamaican descent, my sisters were on like bashment and R&B and all these things, innit? So I'm still finding my identity, and it was so mad that grime came out at that time when I was growing up. So so everything about me now, I just feel like it's proper taking over me as like that individual.
Definitely, man. I feel, well, obviously, you sort of spoken about kind of being influenced either by kind of how most people kind of influenced either by sort of like the hip hop that was coming out of America at the time, or yourself obviously having that sort of bashment influence as well. Do you feel that grime at the time hit that middle ground?
Most definitely, bro. Because you had all the elites of grime basically doing the most. You had Lethal Bizzle, you had Dizzy Rascal, you had Wiley, you had Kano. We had even from the different angles of grime. You had people like Max Skinner on the other side that are basically bringing everyone together. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To do things. Everyone's doing something for the urban scene, innit? So that for me, basically, I feel like we was in a better position because you had people's music that no one didn't know about, but they had power. Now that you kind of heard everything, you feel like you're trying to remake that same energy.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? All the time, but you can't remake that energy because that's what started the trigger of, like, you can never make another I Love You and it have the same value. Do you know what I'm saying?
Definitely, man. I feel that's almost it's an issue and it's not. It's both things at the same time. It's something you see quite often in reggae now as well. I was literally just discussing this with Escape Roots. You hear it a lot in kind of a lot of new bashment bits. You hear it in a lot of genres, garage as well. You hear people trying to kind of recreate that original sound. But understand, like, people need to kind of understand that you are never going to get that same feeling that you got when it first arrived.
Yeah, like, unless you're going to travel back in your age and go back to the first time you actually heard it at that age, that burst of energy that we always feel, that's why people love old music. I'm never going to go to an Usher record that I heard in 2015 before I go to his earlier stuff, because it's a different moment in time. He's got different questions. He's got different, you know what I'm saying, learning things. It's just what happens in music, bros. The date of the energy stays there. Do you know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
And there's always people that want to find that same energy. That's why Wiley keeps saying grime's not dead, because in his heart he's thinking to himself, but I know this energy though. How can this energy die? Do you know what I'm saying?
Of course.
People it's like basically once you get something too much, you try to look for something new. The same with a relationship, bro. If you're banging the girl too much, you're gonna want to go to the next one. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, like the whole thing of it, more than anything else, as you were saying there about Wiley, like in regards to him, like, still feeling that same kind of energy. Do you think that's a problem that people have to an extent, because it's not necessarily living in the past, but it's kind of wanting nostalgia to be now?
Yeah. The problem is everyone, you're looking at, the problem is, bro, yeah, this is what people don't understand. You're looking at a genre that isn't supposed to be this pop, hip, flashy music videos look like they're budget from 10 million. You're looking at something that is built concrete off of raw, energetic authenticity that you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? All the DVDs from the past of grime were DVDs of Risky Roads, Practice Hours, that you never knew if there was going to be beef on the DVDs. You never knew what was going to happen. It weren't in no charts. It wasn't filmed 24/7. So you had that thing of, if you saw something, you saw it, and you was blessed to see it. That's only what we can live for. That's what grime people don't understand.
Yeah.
That's why it doesn't flourish the way it does. Because in America, you see, like, when something happens, all the blogs, everything is talking about it. Grime's not like that. Grime's still in that baby section where it's like, basically, what you're doing is you're highlighting the main people you think run the grime scene. But really, what we know is it's always been the foundation people that actually go to the shows, that go to the radio station, that even if it's a problem, it's got beef with this person, but that's still the highlight of the genre. People try to outline what they want. Like, that's why people say there's culture vultures, because they come around, they take what they like of the culture, and then they go away from it, and then they try to dissect it and say, this is how grime is. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, entirely, man. And I think I definitely see what you're saying as well. The fact that almost to an extent, the thing that is likely to give you that feeling, that's that sort, you know, the sort of feeling, that thing you get in your chest where you go, that's what I'm looking for. That feeling there comes from the unpredictability. That even down to someone in a dance getting a reload, like that feeling there when it's a valid one, that is something that's unpredictable. You can't predict that in the moment feeling, which is, as you're saying, is something that was very prominent during the earlier sort of times of grime. And now we're almost in, like, as you say, like a middle period. We're not in this American world where one person says something, every single magazine and every single outlet is commenting on it. We're at a point where maybe one or two people will repost it.
Yeah, exactly. Or it's that thing on Twitter for the day.
Yeah.
Or on Instagram that they posted and da-da-da-da. But it's they basically it's someone said it like to me. Basically, you love the culture of what it is and what it represents. It's good to join in, but you don't really want to be a part of it, because to be a part of it is to fully be indulged in everything, bro, from the good to the bad. That's what the problem is, and everyone's got a choice of what they want to do. That's why in grime, everyone will talk about me to an extent and say, "Oh, I hate this Dixon guy. He thinks he's or he talks too much." But at the end of the day, I really am a grime kid, bro. Do you know what I'm saying?
Entirely.
I don't do drill, and I don't make. I can do these things, but I don't. Do you know what I'm saying?
Of course.
I really am grime, and I bring this energy to grime, and I make people talk, because at the same day, it's a business. You get that thing from the relevancy of what you're doing, but the difference is there's different relevancy. There's me doing things that I know are gonna make me relevant, and there's things I'm doing that I just do as an MC that I'm just following the trend of what everyone's done. Do you know what I'm saying? And
yeah, of course. I think more than anything, I suppose, it's kind of finding, not even necessarily finding a balance. And I do agree with you that if you are getting involved in a genre, if you want to be truly taken in by that genre and you want to actually be a part of it, you do have to take in all of it. It's not just cherry picking like 16 bar flows and then throwing an esky lick over an instrumental every now and then. You know, it's you have to fully engage with it.
Yeah, or it's not coming, or basically it's not. It's 2018 and I heard you man spitting, and I was watching the YouTube videos and I saw some of your bars and I want to rewrite them and come in the game.
Yeah.
Just saying, that's not what it is either, bro, because that's what's been happening. That's the respect level of what people think grime is. They see people come in from it now, doing all these things. They get a faster way in. They do the right PR. You know what I'm saying? All these things, and then somehow they think they're the essence of grime.
Yeah. I feel that.
That's what's fucking up grime as well, because you're looking at those people and using them as the blueprint of what it is.
Yeah. I feel that. Yeah, I fully feel that, man. I think especially when we're looking at new fans, like new fans, when they kind of stumble across the genre or whatever, and they kind of go, "Oh, this is the person who's hot right now. This must be someone who is fully representative of what's going on." When very rarely that is actually the case.
Yeah, exactly, bro.
There we go. Well, this is a very enjoyable discussion so far, man. I've got to say, thanks for jumping on. We're gonna jump into one of the tunes you sent over first of all. This one goes by the name of GBK. So talk to me about this tune. How did it come together?
Yeah, so GBK is obviously a tune that was sent to me by a guy called Viper. He's based in Florida. So it was one of them things where it's like he hit me up. Went on my Insta, you saw I had a different sound. He was like, "Bro, I've got beats for you." So what I did is I heard this beat, and as soon as I heard it, I was like, "Yo, this sounds like a Skepta beat. It sounds like Skepta produced this." And then I just started having that, "Feel that Skeppy. Told I'm always ready." And then from there, bro, one day in studio, a couple hours, it was finished, bro.
Bang, that's what I like to hear. So we're going to get into this one now, and then we're going to kind of talk about what you've been up to sort of on a music level over the last sort of year or so. Don't go anywhere. We're live on Cubcam TV. Of course, Trickstar Radio as well. It's Brekky in the Cave. Keep it locked.
Hey, feel like Skeppy. Told I'm always ready. Feel like Skeppy. Told I'm always ready. Feel like Skeppy. Told I'm always ready. Feel like Skeppy. Told I'm always ready.
Hey, she says she's serious. She moving like Jay and me.
and go, but I know that I leave body in A&E. What I want, shorty, looking frisky indeed. I got something in the trouser, is you coming? I may treat this session like a studio time. If I get out my camera, then I'm recording mine. Just like my song, you and I might take a phone, let our souls entwine. Let's go out, raise my big boy staff, sex all over the gaff, shake that laffy tap. Love that back, make that booty clap. Break your back, you deserve a pat. SEX, SEX, let's break the bank after we break the bed. SEX, SEX, let's break the bank after we break the bed. Hey, flow like Skeppy, told I'm always ready. 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 Flow like Skeppy, told I'm always ready.
Right then, friends, we're back inside the building. That one coming from a man like 10 Dixon, track entitled GBK, and we are on the line with him right about now. And we're having a very interesting discussion about grime, its sort of roots, the idea of nostalgia, and how it all kind of ties into each other. I want to kind of move the conversation forward here now. Obviously, to more talk about yourself and what you've been doing over the past sort of year or so, because I feel the last sort of 18 months to a year, we've really seen that the 10 Dixon name popping up left, right, and centre. And with a very distinctive musical approach. Like how do you think that's kind of come together?
I think it's come together from I went through a stage where I was doing a lot of group work with my crew.
Okay.
So I think what happened is in the last 2 years, it was kind of like, you know what, Tim, you've been trying to establish everyone together, but really and truly, I need to go ahead and be the forefront. And then when everything's happened, then that's how we're gonna come in. That's a blueprint of what normally happens for someone in grime when you come through with a group. That's how I thought, you know what, I'm gonna take this time to do me. So it's a lot of features, a lot of songs I wasn't expecting to be on, a lot of producers I wasn't expecting to hook up with. I really took the time to write down people's names and thought, I really want to work with them, man. I really want to be on this set. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So even from me doing a special with Sir Spiral that's gonna be on his album coming out this year, from the 2 songs I'm on Wiley's album with everyone, from me trying to do songs with President T, all these things, me trying to do Hell in the Cell, Lord of the Mics, trying to be on Red Bull, Culture Clash before it ended, all these different things, bro, trying to be the face of Apple when for the Grime takeover. It's just been a good year, man.
Definitely, man. And this is what I mean. I've literally seen your face and I've seen your name on so many different projects and different kind of outlets and platforms. And I was wondering if there was a decision made at some point which made you kind of go, right, this year I'm gunning at it, because that's how it's kind of come across.
Yeah, I think it was when I was in the crew with Johnny Clayface, and Johnny kind of left our group. I was like, you know what? Because when you're the 2 forefront men of something, I felt like once one leaves, you then have to make an impact yourself. And I'm already 10 Dixon, but I didn't feel like, that's 10 Dixon of the scene. Do you know what I'm saying? I feel like I established myself in last year and this year where the most work was done. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel that.
Because I felt like, not that I was holding back, but I wasn't trying to go as hard as possible. And even now, sometimes I feel like, bruv, I'm that person who doesn't have PR. I'm that person that doesn't have management. So all the things you see me do, it's always been me. It's not been a thing of they put me on this move and someone talked to someone for this person. No, I just literally did it through all the bars, all the places to travel to, and all these things, bro. So it's really good for me to start a good foundation and to be the man out there that I always wanted to be.
Definitely, man. I think as well that I think to an extent as well the connections and the relationships you kind of form with people during that period of time, that's what people kind of remember in the long run as well. People remember it being you who was there rather than necessarily being someone who obviously is your manager or whatever, but they're sort of like a middleman. And I feel in the long term people do remember when people have set out and done things for themselves, which is really sick to see. In regards to music, then, how, like, obviously you've spoken about being on Wiley's album. How was that as an experience?
Yeah, so bro, you can imagine like a normal day, you get a call, a DM, Wiley going, "Yeah, bro, I'm in the studio. I want you to come today." You know what I'm saying?
Was it literally that out of the blue?
Yeah, bro. He literally, bro, he'll ring your phone and you look at the number. It's like Wiley, because I saved him as Wiley Esky Boys, and I'm like, "Bro, Wiley's ringing me." Then you pick up the phone and he goes, "Listen, I was trying to explain to someone about 10 Dixon and it wasn't understanding you." So when you've got someone like that to need to come studio and lace a song with them, you're just thinking, yeah, bro, this is what I've been waiting for a long time, man. This is the type of thing I love. And even things where it's just like hollering Roo Kid on the level of saying Roo Kid. Basically, I've come on your show to MC, I've brought people, but really and truly, bro, I want to do an actual song with you. Yeah. That's the difference. That's what's been changing my mind, because I'm one of them people that I don't really like to ask anyone. Yeah. Like, I don't like to ask people, let's do this, bro, or let's do da. I don't, because what our generation does and our culture does, it makes you feel like asking is breading someone. Yeah,
I fully feel that.
So what's happened is, through the duration of me MCing, sometimes people think I should be doing more, but the problem with me is I haven't asked. You know what I'm saying? I haven't asked. So those tunes that people probably want to see me on with this person, I never ask them. And they, you know what I'm saying? I never make it a thing that we should do that. But I know within my power I can. But I think it's because when you don't, I've got that self-belief thing, and then you've got that doubt thing. So it's like I'm 50-50 half of the time. I'm like, I know I'm hard, but I don't think I'm the guy. Yeah. But when you're trying to become the guy, there's no point of trying to hold on to the doubt. So I'm just doing half and work. That's why I feel like as 10 Dixon, I'm there, but I'm not there.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah. And entirely, man. And I think that's become very apparent over the course of the last sort of, I'd say, especially the last 18 months. With you appearing in all these extra places. Would you say that's because you have suddenly turned around and started going, right, let's do this, I'm going to ask to do this, I'm going to ask to do this?
Yeah, I feel like definitely... when I started saying, yeah, bro, I want to do this, people started clocking on and saying, oh shit, he's doing this. Then it became a thing of more people wanted to work, you know? More people wanted to shoot videos, more producers wanted to do things. Once I started asking and not kind of just shelling myself away, it became more of a better place to do things, man. Most definitely, and I think it's almost like it's like a double barrel effect to an extent, because as soon as people see you going out there and doing more people are going to come to you and ask. Yeah, most definitely.
There we go. This is a really interesting conversation, to be honest, because I feel there's definitely I've definitely felt this in grime, and I've had it a few times where I've kind of felt it isn't almost like there's not really much point approaching someone because I don't know if they're going to be interested in getting involved with what I'm doing. But I think like the grand scheme of things is here that we're both kind of getting to is, if you don't ask, you don't get a lot of the time.
Yeah. A lot of it is because you know there's like a professionalism in grime where we're not the most professional. Yeah. So when someone asks you for something, someone in grime looks at the aspects of what they're asking them and think, where is that good for me? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because they're so used to doing the work rate of like, bro, this is grime, I've got a long way to go, and what you're saying to me, what you may asking me seems a lot. And it doesn't seem a lot for me. That's what a lot of people. That's where I was at. I was like, right, I don't want to do this set because it doesn't mean anything for me. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. There's no camera there, so I can't get filmed. There's no thing. And people in grime do this a lot of the time. And what happens is no one does anything. And then they go away thinking, brother, ask that guy to do this, and it's just a dickhead. Do you know what I'm saying? He's just like that. Like, he doesn't do I don't get it. That's why I had to change my mindset to try and get into like the bits of like, yeah, bro, we really got to get this shit done.
Definitely. I think that's very apparent in what we've been kind of discussing for the last few minutes, and I think it is interesting to look at. What the most annoying thing about this is we've literally nearly run out of time already, which is very upsetting because I'm really enjoying this one. But yeah, let's kind of move things forward. Then obviously we've spoken a little bit about working on obviously Wiley's album and obviously getting involved with these different platforms. Like, what's the future for 10 Dixon? Then, like, what are you looking to do over the course of the next sort of year or so?
Bro, I'm looking to just do all the songs with the greats, to be real. You know, I've already kind of started with Wiley, and I just kind of want to get the classical songs, you know what I'm saying? You want to get the songs like people wouldn't think. Like, I want the song with Gets, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I want the song with D-Double that you didn't think I was gonna get. You know what I'm saying? Or I want the song with Dizzy that you probably thought I wasn't gonna get. All those things to make it, to add to the list of like, yep, I wrote this down and I've done it. You know what I'm saying? Definitely. Another thing is, as someone who does music, you just want to get the opportunity in it. So you may want to get that certain deal, not to say a record deal, but you want that scenario where you can push music properly. Do you know what I'm saying?
Of course.
Right. I'm just fluttering about. You know what I'm saying? There's not a campaign that runs for 3 months of one single that's getting radio circuited to all the DJs. Do you know what I'm saying? These symptomatic things that people are clocking onto that there wasn't before, that needs to be done, helps the progress. So I'm just trying to get myself, 10 Dixon, in the best position possible that I can start changing the narrative of why doesn't 10 go, why isn't it on the same level as da-da-da-da? Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's my main thing.
So it's a combination of almost changing public perception and changing mindset to an extent.
Yeah, because people are so used to me being the hype guy on set, shouting or whatever, but musically wise, I'm starting to clock, basically I need to switch it up. So that's why I'm coming out with songs like GBK and all these different things, because I've clocked on why he said something very important. He said something about Stormzy. He said basically, when you give people, if you're in a game from like a space of 5 years, and in those 5 years you've given people music every year that's changed, with me I feel like I've given people music at the level where you don't expect anything else from me. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel that.
Stay like that. But what I've done is I'm changing as I go along. So where I've given you probably 5 years of 10 Dixon hyping and raging, now you're going to get mellow 10 Dixon that you never expected. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I always rebuild myself for you to feel like my music's timeless, and I haven't given you everything yet. Do you know what I'm saying? I haven't given you that full grime album yet. You know what I'm saying? There hasn't been a mixtape for ages, or an EP. There's been joint ventures with other people, but not something my actual self. So that's what I'm working on right now.
Awesome, man. I mean, it's sick to hear, and I think again, I think I've caught you at a good time for this interview, because it feels like more than anything else, you've kind of become very resolved in the fact that you are changing more than anything else.
Yeah, most definitely.
There we go, man. Awesome. Well, we have nearly run out of time, so we're going to run one more tune before we finish up. But I want to say first of all, thanks for coming on the show, man. It's been really good to talk and hear you speak on things more than anything else.
Well, thank you for the opportunity, brother, man. Keep doing what you're doing, and I won't stop pushing you, man.
There we go. That's what I like to hear. As always, with new music as well, please do send stuff over. I'm always keen to kind of support people more that have been on the show that haven't been on the show, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But there we go. We're going to finish up with this one. Now, this one comes from yourself, and I believe it's Camo.
Yeah.
So this one goes by the name of Flavor. Talk to me about this tune.
This one is, so basically, I've got my guy, Daniel, who's from Italy, who hit me up saying he's got this guy, Camo, who's like, he's like Afrobeat / old school hip hop. And he was like, bro, I think you two would make a good song. So I literally came in the studio, Daniel was making the beat. And I heard him do the chorus. And I was like, oh shit, I can do grime on this, but not grime.
Yeah.
Not temporary grime that you're used to. I can do like strip club porn grime. You know what I'm saying? Like, it sounds slow, but it's not slow. So it's weird, bro. Yeah, man. Go on.
There we go. Awesome, man. Well, as I said before, it's been brilliant having you on. We'll stay in contact, obviously, after this. Stay safe and all that good stuff, and we'll speak soon.
Yes, my brother, man. Love, man.
Bless, bro. Bless. Right then, friends, that's going to be it from me. We're going to finish up by running through, obviously, a couple of these announcements. Obviously, socials, you can... that's the point. I always forget to ask this. Ted, what is the best social for people to get you on?
Say again, bro?
What's the best social platform for people to get you on? Social media?
So if you go on Insta and @Skengtenny, one. That's on Instagram, and if you want to go on Twitter, it's Mr. TEN Dixon.
There we go. Good stuff. Awesome. Right then, okay, cool. So we're going to finish up, obviously, the podcast. If you are looking into the show via the video and you want to check out the podcast, literally just search Breakfast with KXVU, the interviews, on the different podcast platforms. That's Spotify, Apple Music, and SoundCloud. And, of course, quick word to our sponsors, Sharpen Digital, a really, really solid social media agency that help out this channel a fair bit. As you can see, they are the alternative to hiring social media managers, and they will sort out your SEO for you. Of course, throw a like on the video, and, of course, hit that subscribe button below. We are aiming to hit 600 by the end of the week. We went up 70 last week, so we're trying to hit 600 by the end of this week. Don't go anywhere. Keep it locked. It's been Brekky in the Cave, and we shall see you next time. Bless.
Fling it, swing it, shut it, bring it back. Watch your flavor. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Ay, fling it, swing it, shut it, bring it back. Watch your flavor. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
I saw you on the pole, saw that girl do a tootsie roll. She asked me where her tongue should go. Told her open wide with a capital O. Murder capital O. Might just murk that pussy hoe. Gets to the point where my things do grow. Triple X when I go in mode and get me, this beat here is trippy. About Mopat, I'd rather hit that kitty. X-rated when I'm feeling busy, I'm dizzy. Rascal up in the city. Go wanna run me down and ring me. Oh really, cold-hearted and chilly. Told her they roll it up in Billy and
fling it, swing it, shut it, bring it back. Watch your flavor. Whoa, 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 ay, fling it, swing it, shut it, bring it back. Watch your flavor. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Hey.
Swing it, shut it.
Walk on when I lift pum pum up. You say pizza, I say pussy heart. Make her fill it in guts, I'm nuts. She likes to taste nuts. Man like me just smack on butts. I'm gonna fuck her hard to my pussy shots. That's what I call hard fucking ram. I just come like choo choo man. She likes to feel things in hand. She likes to feel things in hand. Love it. Push my ting in stomach. Make her carry my ute like luggage. Fuck it. Which one of them wanna shuck it? Water in face with bucket. Wave.
Fling it, swing it, shut it, bring it back. Watch your flavor. Whoa, 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 ay, fling it, swing it, shut it, bring it back. Watch your flavor. Whoa, 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 whoa. Swing it, shut it, bring it back. Watch your flavor. Whoa, 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 ay, fling it, swing it, shut it, bring it back. Watch your flavor. Whoa, 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 whoa.